Um, Hi. I'm currently in a bed inside St. Anne's Hospital in North London. Dr. Martin kindly allowed me to use his laptop so I can explain how I got here and what happened to me. My name is David. I am 16 years old and apparently I'm suffering from a mental illness of some kind. There's so much I could take from a doctor's words in the opposite patient room since I have a bloody massive headache. I've been given a fair amount of ibuprofen, but this headache seems permanent. But I don't care. I absolutely must get this written down at all costs. Anyways, you might be wondering how I got here. Here it is. Here's my story. About 4 nights ago, I went upstairs to a loft took my old school books to the burning pile. I just finished my GCSEs, and like all my friends, hated every single subject I did. Math, history, English, especially English. You name it, I really hated it. So I found the books exactly where I left them a few months back, or dumped them more like, in a corner that was so old that there was enough dust to make cotton candy. I scorned the moment I looked at them, except I knew this would be the last time I had to look at them. So I clipped them underneath one arm. Disgusting. I considered changing clothes shortly after. Then something caught my eye. I'm not sure how I noticed it, but I remember being so intrigued by it that I dropped the books on the floor and picked it up. It was a red CD-ROM case, about the size of an average book. There was no words of any kind. Even when I turned it over on the other side, I saw it all. I was kind of excited. It looked like a computer game that was owned by the previous owners. Since I absolutely loved computers at the time, I was interested in giving it a go on my old Dell. But when I opened the case, the disc inside lacked any kind of artistic illustrations. Instead, just a bland white color with some text written on it in black marker. The words were Chatroom 98. I wasn't exactly pleased when I learned it wasn't a game, but since someone had actually went through the effort of making a chatroom disk rather than the vast chat rooms available on the internet, I concluded it would somehow be different. That I got right. Having kicked the worthless books down the attic ladder, I inserted the disk inside my old laptop. After a brief moment, a red box with no text in it appeared. I wasn't sure what to make of it at first, but it seemed to linger there for half a minute. Then the screen went black for a brief moment and flashed. The words, "Welcome to Chatroom 98" appeared to the top center of the screen. Chatroom 98. What was the significance of that number? Then, what appeared to be a white text box opened up in the center. I didn't know what to type, so I randomly put, "Hello." I didn't expect any kind of response, but then, got one. A person by the name of Darwin Clark replied, "Good afternoon." There was no possible way that this person was real. It seemed like it was the only processor of this chatroom disk. Then I realized it was one of those chatbots, the software designed to simulate an intelligent conversation with whoever talks to it. ICT was the only thing I was good at. I still thought it was strange, though. I'd only lived in that house for 6 years, but I'd never encountered that red box in my entire life. I suppose the house's previous owner must have owned it, but it's not like they owned a computer, unless you count that smashed to pieces one that we had to throw away in the dump when we first arrived. Anyway, I tried to start a conversation to see what extent the AI had been programmed. Lovely weather we're having, I wrote. No sooner than 3 seconds, Mr. Clark replied, No, it seems to be rather miserable today. I was taken aback. The weather was more or less exactly how he put it. I didn't know either until I looked out the window and saw it was about to rain. It seemed the books had one more day to live, but I wasn't too surprised. The chatbot probably programmed to say that, and since this is England, it could have been more than likely. I then typed in, do you have any favorite movies? Again, I got a response. I don't watch movies. I prefer the theater. The theater. Was I talking to an old man? I replied, How old are you? I don't care if the bot got offended. It would have given me an answer right eventually. The answer was, I'll tell you about myself. I was born in 1867 and grew up with 2 sisters whom I hated. Okay, right. Whoever programmed this was clearly having a laugh. I typed back laughing hysterically as I wrote, Well, I was born in 2098 with 2 identical twin brothers who are also aliens from the planet Boogaloo. I am also Jesus. I wonder what the senile old man would say next. I knew it was a chatbot, but I kept thinking it was a real person for some unexplainable reason. He said, Really? How droll. Nice to meet you, Mr. Jesus. Have your brothers abducted anyone yet? I cracked up. Whoever made this must have done an impressive job. I typed in, Yes, they're actually alien pedophiles who prey on human children. You better watch out. They also have a fetish for CD-ROMs. The next reply was just plain unsettling. Clark replied, Well, although I may appear to be a CD-ROM, I was actually a human myself. Once, until I faced judgment for my own transgressions. I don't know what the fuck he was saying, but the poignant detail of this description startled me for a second. It felt real. Too real. Then, to my surprise, he typed another message. You don't understand? Let me explain myself. My sisters, whom I hated, met with a tragic accident. I was starting to feel cold. This is not just a chatbot. This must have been a psycho chatbot or something. Or it was a big joke. I typed in to see its reaction. Do you know what else my brothers have done lately? And then I was met with the biggest surprise of all. Darwin Clark responded again, only this time I could see his message being typed like a ticker tape typewriter. You're the only child, David. What the actual fuck? I'm seriously getting creeped out now. So I typed in, What the fuck are you? Then the response, something could have been more made by an AI, seemed too much like a human, was actually talking to me. Let me tell you a story. Do you know what happened to your house's previous owners? I sat there like an idiot, staring at the computer, waiting for a response. Same thing that happened to my 2 sisters. Remember, I despised both of them. And that was it. I moved to the cursor of the top right corner to click the cross button and to end this nightmare. I was relieved. I'd only been talking to it for 5 minutes, but it seemed like 2 hours. But when I tried to shut down the PC, the unthinkable happened. The computer became unresponsive. It went all glitched and fucked up. Worse still, the chat room opened by itself. I got another message, and this time, I was sure to be hallucinating by now. You have not heard everything yet. I scrambled to the keyboard. I was losing my mind. Are you fucking with my computer? Stop. This is seriously not funny. Finally, I think this is where it happened. Darwin Clark typed in again, and this time much slower ticker tape typewriting fashion than last time. I could hear nothing more than my own heartbeat. It intensified more and more with each passing letter. My face was practically melting in sweat. As I focused more and more on the letters as they were being typed, the horrified expression on my face had become visible. I think I remember seeing it in the reflection on my laptop. The final message that he gave me, which lost me my sanity and ruined my health, was, "Look behind you." I remember feeling as if everything around me was slowing down. I really was worried. Part of me knew that there would have been something behind me, and a smaller part tried to assure me that there was nothing there. I shut my eyes, clenched my teeth violently together, then shot my head back like a bullet. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I spat out a weak laughter and nodded my head in relief, and I felt like everything was safe again, until I looked back to my computer monitor. I must have seen it in the moment I swiveled my chair, but it caught me anyway. There was a face. A fucking face. Of a man. A fucking pale white man who was grinning at me in my laptop screen. His hair was blonde, and he seemed to be his mid-20s. But his facial expression was the exact opposite of friendly. His eyes were crimson red. I saw for a nanosecond, but that was all I could take. After that, apparently I screamed violently and then fell unconscious for 4 hours. That's what Dr. Martin told me. He's the guy looking after me at the moment. He really doesn't know what I've been through. So here I am now, just sitting in bed at 4:30 in the morning, typing this story to the world. Even as I type, I still worry about that face will appear once again and scare the shit out of me. I seem to be suffering from a trauma. My eyes have grown dark purple circles around them because I've literally not slept at all since the incident. I tried sleeping, but that face stops me from sleeping. Now that I've written this story, I urge everybody to watch out. If you see a red CD-ROM case, throw it away. Do not open it, and do not use it. I'm now going to jump out of the third story window. I can't take this anymore. I'm too fucking scared. I want to die. If anyone tries to rescue me, then fuck you too. And I repeat, do not go looking for Darwin Clark. He may not be real, but he can drive you insane. If you read this message, do not look for Darwin Clark. If you find him, you will lose your sanity.